Stepping off of a private jet and realizing your empire of drugs and unimaginable wealth is crumbling around you. Franc Gergely, the Albanian kingpin, lived like a king in his multi-million-dollar Dubai villa, orchestrating brutal hits and massive drug shipments across Europe. But on September 14th, 2023, his luxurious hideaway couldn't save him from extradition to Belgium. How did this ruthless leader, once untouchable, end up in a Belgian cell, facing life in prison? Franc's story starts in Elbasan, a small city in Albania. Born about 31 years ago, Franc had quite an ordinary beginning. But don't let that fool you. His life took a wild turn pretty quickly. As a young man in Elbasan, Franc got involved in petty crimes. You know how it goes, small-time stuff at first. But he was ambitious. His knack for business, albeit the illegal kind, soon saw him rising through the ranks of the local underworld. By his early 20s, Franc was already making a name for himself. He wasn't just some street thug anymore, he was starting to gain real power and influence. Franc didn't just want to be another criminal, he wanted to run things. So, he formed the Kopja clan, a ruthless and tightly knit group. This wasn't just a gang, it was an organized crime family. Think of it like a mafia. They had their hands in everything: drug trafficking, arms dealings, and money laundering. Franc's clan quickly established itself as a major player in the Albanian criminal scene, known for their brutal methods and their international connections. From Albania, they expanded their operations across Europe. The Kopja clan didn't just stick to their home turf, they went global. One of their main operations was drug trafficking. The clan dealt heavily with coke, importing massive amounts from South America. This wasn't some small-time smuggling operation. We're talking about major shipments that went through ports like Antwerp and Rotterdam. The drugs would be then processed in secret labs, often hidden in other substances, before being distributed all over Europe. The profits from this were astronomical, and all the money flowed back to Albania. But it didn't stop there. The clan was also deeply involved in arms dealings. They supplied weapons to other criminal organizations, adding another layer of income and influence to their empire. And of course, there was money laundering. All that dirty money had to be cleaned somehow, and the Kopja clan had sophisticated methods for making their illegal profits look legitimate. Franc Gergely, after making a name for himself in the Albanian underworld, decides to up the ante. He moves his entire operation to Dubai, a place known for its luxury and at the time, its reputation as a safe haven for criminals with deep pockets. Franc wasn't just looking for a new base, he was aiming for a fortress. He set himself up in a multi-million-dollar villa right in the heart of Dubai Hills, a sprawling estate complete with every luxury you can imagine. Relocating to Dubai allowed Franc to expand his operations on a global scale. He wasn't content with just running things in Albania or even Europe. From his new base, he orchestrated a vast network of international drug trafficking and organized crime. Life in Dubai was a stark contrast to the gritty streets of Elbasan, where Franc began his criminal career. He lived like a king in his Dubai villa, a testament to his success and ruthlessness. This wasn't just any house, it was built to his specifications, a symbol of his power and influence. For a starting price of 1.5 million euros for a 4-bedroom villa, the prices went up to a staggering 7.8 million euros for a 7-bedroom mansion. Franc's place was at the top end of that scale, a palace fit for a drug lord. At this point, everything was going Franc's way. While he enjoyed the high life, his operations ran like a well-oiled machine. The coke trade was Franc's biggest moneymaker. His clan processed the drugs in hidden labs across Europe before selling them to buyers all over the continent. The profits flowed back to Albania, financing even more criminal activities. But Franc didn't just sit back and count his money. He was strategic and ruthless, ensuring his empire ran smoothly. He kept a low profile in Dubai, rarely getting his hands dirty. Instead, he directed his operations from the shadows, using encrypted messages and trusted lieutenants to manage the day-to-day affairs. His network of hitmen ensured that anyone who crossed him or his clan was swiftly dealt with. At least 9 assassinations were attributed to him, though Franc himself was rarely, if ever, directly involved. The luxury and security of Dubai allowed Franc to feel untouchable. He mingled with the rich and powerful, blending into the high society of Dubai whilst running one of the most feared criminal organizations in Europe from his fortress in Dubai Hills. But when you're at the top of the food chain, fierce competition is inevitable. Enter one of the most intense and deadly rivalries in organised crime history, the feud between Franc Gergely's Kopja clan and the Albania clan, led by Ardit Spahiu. The spark? A massive coke shipment went missing in Britain. This wasn't just any shipment, it was a colossal haul. When it vanished, both clans pointed fingers at each other. Now, you might be wondering, how did these two clans get so intertwined over a single shipment? Well, Franc Gergely's Kopja clan, notorious for their international drug trafficking, was deeply involved in the European coke market. On the other hand, Ardit Spahiu, a ruthless leader of the Albania clan, operated from Elbasan, Albania, and was just as entrenched in the drug trade. This lost shipment was a huge deal, and its disappearance was enough to ignite a violent and bloody confrontation between these two powerful factions. Ardit Spahiu wasn't just another gangster, he was a key player in the Albanian underworld, known for his brutal tactics and extensive criminal network. The Albania clan, like the Kopja clan, had a significant presence in both Albania and Europe, making them formidable rivals. Their operations and reputations were on the line, and the blame game over the missing coke led to an all-out war, marked by escalating violence and numerous murders. Both clans were heavily involved in international drug trafficking, and the stakes were incredibly high. The Kopja clan, under Gergely's ruthless leadership, was known for its brutal methods. On the other side, the Albania clan, with Ardit Spahiu at the helm, was equally ruthless and determined to maintain its dominance. The rivalry quickly turned personal, and the violence that followed was unprecedented. During this time, they began moving their operations from Elbasan, Albania, to the streets of Brussels. They weren't just looking for a new market, they wanted a place where they could operate with less heat from the authorities. Belgium's bustling port cities and strategic location offered them just that. Moving to Belgium wasn't just about escaping Albanian law enforcement, it was also about seizing new opportunities. The European drug market was lucrative, and Brussels provided the perfect hub for distributing coke across the continent. The Albania clan set up shop in the Sint-Jans-Molenbeek municipality, a gritty area of Brussels known for its criminal activities. Here they could blend in, recruit local criminals, and establish a strong foothold. They had safe houses, drug processing labs, and a network of dealers. Their rivals, the Kopja clan, led by Franc Gergely, had also expanded their operations to Belgium, setting the stage for their bloody feud. One of the most shocking incidents in this deadly feud happened on November 27, 2020. Ardit Spahiu, the key figure in the Albania clan, was leaving a cafe in Brussels. It was early evening, and he probably thought he was safe. But as he stepped outside, a black VW Golf GTI 6 rolled up. Before Spahiu could react, a gunman emerged and opened fire with a machine gun. 18 shots rang out, and Spahiu was hit 8 times. He died on the spot, right there and then, in Condorlan, near Edmund Magdenslan. The investigation into Spahiu's murder revealed just how deep the rivalry ran. The original plan wasn't just to kill Spahiu, but to wipe out his entire family. The 2 hitmen involved in the execution were later arrested in Spain and Germany, showcasing the international reach of this deadly feud. The level of violence was shocking, even by the brutal standards of the Brussels underworld. But this was just one of the many hits connected to Gergely and his clan. Franc Gergely was linked to at least 9 contract killings. 6 of these took place in Albania, further cementing his reputation as a ruthless leader. One of the most notable killings attributed to him was that of Ardit Spahiu. The violence didn't stop with Spahiu's death. The feud between the Kopja and Albania clans only continued to escalate. Both sides were heavily armed, willing to go to extreme lengths to assert their dominance. The Albania clan, known for its brutal tactics, retaliated, and the cycle of violence continued. For Franc Gergely, the execution of Ardit Spahiu was a clear message. It was meant to show that he was untouchable, and that anyone who crossed him or his clan would meet a swift and violent end. But while Franc basked in the glory of his drug empire, law enforcement was on the hunt for him. The decoded Sky ECC messages later revealed the extent of Gergely's involvement in these murders. These encrypted communications provided a chilling insight into his operations, including photos and videos of torture and executions. This rivalry wasn't just about business, it was personal. The missing coke shipment was merely the catalyst for a much deeper conflict. Both clans had a long history of violence and a fierce determination to control the lucrative drug trade. The hits, the brutal tactics, and the international scope of their operations made this one of the bloodiest feuds in the world of organized crime. This brings us to the fascinating and intense investigation that led to the downfall of Franc Gergely. The key to cracking this case was something called Sky ECC. Sky ECC is an encrypted messaging service that criminals believed was impenetrable. It was their go-to for planning crimes, from drug trafficking to assassinations, all under the illusion of complete secrecy. But little did they know, law enforcement agencies were one step ahead. Belgian and international law enforcement collaborated in an unprecedented way to crack the case. They managed to decrypt the Sky ECC messages, and what they found was like opening Pandora's box. These messages contained detailed plans, hit lists, and even photos and videos of brutal acts committed by Gergely's clan. The encrypted communications were a goldmine of evidence that painted a chilling picture of the Kopja clan's operations. The decrypted messages gave investigators a roadmap of the clan's activities, exposing the inner workings of their criminal empire. With this newfound intel, law enforcement knew they had a real chance to bring Gergely down. October 2021 was a game changer. A massive coordinated operation involving 1,100 police officers across Belgium. This wasn't just a raid, it was a full-scale assault on Gergely's empire. The goal was simple: dismantle the Albanian coke network that Gergely had built. The scale of this operation was unprecedented, showing just how serious the authorities were about taking him down. The raids uncovered 11 coke laboratories and 5 cannabis plantations. These weren't small-time operations, they were industrial-scale facilities processing massive amounts of drugs. Over 32 tons of coke were seized, along with villas, expensive cars, and luxury apartments worth over 7 million euros. It was a significant blow to Gergely's operations and a clear message that law enforcement meant business. But it wasn't just about the drugs. This operation also led to the arrest of numerous gang members. The courts were about to see the largest criminal drug trial ever in Belgium, with 142 suspects on trial at the Justitia building in Evere. The scale of this trial was staggering, expected to last 5 months, with Gergely himself at the center of it all. The evidence against Gergely was overwhelming. The Sky ECC messages had revealed not only his drug operations, but also his involvement in multiple hits. Investigators found horrific images of torture and execution, all pointing back to Gergely as the mastermind. It was clear that he was not just a drug lord, but a ruthless killer who ruled through fear and violence. On June 16, 2023, the Federal Prosecutor's Office formally requested Gergely's arrest and extradition from the United Arab Emirates. Thanks to an extradition treaty signed in December 2021, Belgium had a legal framework to bring Gergely back to face justice. He was finally arrested in Dubai on September 14, 2023, and extradited to Belgium, marking the first time a drug criminal was sent back from Dubai under this treaty. Now, Gergely sits in a Belgian cell, his empire in ruins, and his future looking grim. The investigation and crackdown on his operations were a testament to the power of international cooperation and the determination of law enforcement to bring down one of the most notorious drug lords of our time. It was a tale of cryptic messages, massive police operations, and the relentless pursuit of justice that ultimately brought an end to Franc Gergely's reign of terror. What are your thoughts on Franc's story? Let us know in the comments below. If you like our content, don't forget to check out the channel. We've got many more stories from the underworld to share with you. See you in the next one.